The metal underground is filled with underdog stories, and these guys are a come up years in the making. Welcome to Ray Runner Does Music, where for once I have a smooth intro, where today we're taking a look at the newest album from Illinois-based band Victims called Numb the Ache. I recently discovered these guys when a song from their album Halfway Happy came on, the song being beautifully depressing, and it was exactly what I was looking for in a new band to listen to. Enough of the metalcore elements that I already fucked heavy with a brand new, seemingly brand new to me at the time, blend of things that I did not expect to come from a band like this. Combining elements of nu metal, hip-hop vocal delivery, and of course the contagious metalcore, this was everything I was looking for, and I was beyond hyped to figure out that they had a new release, this release coming out in 2021. This heavy instrumentation all over the discography that never sacrifices itself for quality, and is always leaving you with plenty of moments split clean in half between slow, sort of like, okay, moments where the instrumentation is just pounding away at you, and then plenty of the times where your head is absolutely losing it, just trying to keep up with the intensity of the music. Manic guitars, crushing drums, bass that sounds like something out of a horror movie, and of course the absolutely demonic vocals. Getting right into things, let's talk about Hell is Other People, a song that has a chorus that stops you dead in your tracks, cymbals crashing, guitar fading in from manic to measured. Vocalist's voice fades out for a moment. You're just left with the pounding of the drums. Again, I've used that word a couple times, pounding, but that's the only way to describe the feeling coming in through your earbuds or your headphones or wherever you're listening through. This is one of those songs where I was listening to it on my TV speakers, and that thing started to shake me. And I had it on 20. Heavy is a word that gets tossed around a lot in the scene, especially with metalcore, but this is something truly heavy. It's forceful. It's got impact to it. Not only just in this 2-minute track, which by the way does more in 2 minutes than a lot of metalcore bands try to do with 3 to 5 minutes, but all throughout the rest of the album, it's non-stop adrenaline. The amount of times where John Madalone absolutely compliments and adds onto the work that the guitarist or drummer are putting out is absolutely, it's just all over the place. There's so many individual moments that trying to pick them out would just lead into me repeating myself. But it's not just the members of Victims putting in all the work. You have so many features strung out throughout the album. It's insane. It's just, I don't think I've seen an album have this many features and outside influences that actually add into the album individually, like they're all doing something good for the album in a while. Plenty of metalcore bands add in features, they'll bring in 1 or 2 artists, but there's always one that doesn't, ring to as much as the other ones did. There's always 1 or 2 features in the album that has a lot of features that doesn't quite hit the same. There's no misses from the features that Victims brings onto this album. Jake Wolf from Reflections, for example, comes in on the song Carved to absolutely not only multiply the brutality, but truly create a real fight song. This is the type of song that plays when you're fighting somebody in a parking lot. The power that comes from his voice works so well with Victims that I didn't even know it was a feature until I actually looked at the track list after listening to the album for the first time. I thought it was just the vocalist already doing his thing, just with a slightly different tone, which isn't bad. It's not bad by any means. This is fantastic when another vocalist can come into your song and sound as complimentary and as perfect as a fit as a normal member. This is fantastic to see. You get a lot of times where you have, different vocalists, completely different vocalists come into a song and absolutely switch things up for the formula in the best way. Look at I the Mighty featuring Tillian. There's a very definite split between the vocals. Or I Prevail with, I think it was Justin Stone on Rise Above It. Again, very definite change in pace here. But when you bring in someone like Jake Wolf, the same thing coming into the song, again, you're multiplying things, you're making it better, you're creating a much better product because the feature not only adds something new, but sounds like it fits perfectly. If you think things stopped with the Reflections feature though, it gets even harder and low time at all. You have Darius Tehrani, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, from Spite. A fucking Spite feature! His part on Carefully Caged makes it an absolute ripper and a must listen to. If you somehow skip over this album and you're like, I don't have the time to listen to a full Victims album, this is the song you need to listen to. If you need to, use Darius from Spite as a jumping point to be like, alright, I know Darius, let's see what this band has to offer. Use that as a jumping point, it's worth it, trust me. The song actually has some of the hardest lyrics in terms of emotional and physical weight to the words throughout the entire album. Here's an excerpt from the album. I'm gonna read off my notes real quick. I fell in love with my depression, the only thing that was consistent. I hated how empty I felt, but at least it kept me distance. Whew! There's also the absolutely filthy pre-breakdown call out. Addiction is a slow decay. Holy fuck. I'm gonna put the timestamp of the song right here. Go to this song, go to this timestamp, listen to this. Oh, it hits so good. It makes the brain tingle in the best way. There's plenty more features for you to check out. There's a Weeping Wound feature. Juan Gutierrez pops in. I'm gonna leave those as a mystery though, because those are moments you need to feel for yourself. No information at all. The fact that I even told you is honestly some information, but ignore that. I touch a little bit on the Cade Armstrong feature that comes in later on during one of the last tracks, but that's about all I'm really gonna say about tracks beyond this. Again, the features that Victims pull out here, masterful, prestigious, makes the album even more worth listening to than it already was. Blissful metalcore camaraderie. If at any point you're like me, sometimes you get overwhelmed by the sheer abrasiveness of metalcore. Sometimes there's so much just pure fiery passion coming at you. They need a little break, you know, a little something else, or you just want a different take on what's being offered to you already by a band. The title track comes in clutch. Numb the Ache lets drummer Meredith Henderson come in, take the reins, and produce probably the most honestly beautiful track I've heard all year. This song is something else. I'm gonna do my best to talk about it, to explain it, but it's breathtaking. So let me try to talk about it here. So I hope I have this information right. If I missed something, I sincerely apologize, and I'm so sorry for that. From what I can tell, Numb the Ache, the song, is a sort of lyrical monologue about the drummer Meredith Henderson's struggles with cystic fibrosis. If you don't know what cystic fibrosis is, I'm reading the pure Google definition right here. It's a hereditary disorder affecting the exocrine glands. It causes the production of abnormally thick mucus, leading to the blockage of the pancreatic ducts, intestines, and bronchi, often resulting in respiratory infection. The track talks about a situation where your life is pretty much constantly ruled by your disease. It's ruled by what you can do about your disease. When something like this has a stranglehold on your life, it's just like the lyrics said, one of the lines say, it takes thousands to keep me alive. The quote of the song, it takes thousands to keep me alive, but only 0 to let me die. It's really something else. It's something that really stops you in your tracks and makes you think, okay, wow, this is, just to avoid trying to sound like an overzealous asshole here, this is something serious. This is something genuine to put in a song here. This was the first song where I really had to go back and re-listen to it and sort of fully absorb it. I listen to albums a weird way for reviews. I listen to it while I'm doing something, then I listen to it for details, then I listen to it while reading the lyrics as I go, at least 3 listens. The first time I listened to this track came on, and I had to repeat this track about 4 times just to fully let it just hit me, let it overtake me. The dreamy vocal delivery really fits the track well here, and the straightforward descriptors create a very somber message and a very needed message. It's something, again, it's a really, I'm trying to think of the right words here because I don't want to try and sound like I'm trying to pump this up and make it something. I'm losing the wordage here. I'm not trying to make this sound like I'm very much losing the words here, but I think you can kind of get what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to convey the message here. I'm not trying to make anything beyond the message. If I'm coming across that way, I truly apologize. I'm just trying to relay the seriousness of it. I admire the courage it takes to put out a song about this. You know, putting this kind of thing out in the open in general takes a lot of, self-fortitude here, and that's something to really realize as a listener and as a fan of the band. But truly, Meredith is a very strong person for putting this together. Coming to the end here, this powerful track falls straight into the last track on the album, Suddenly Everything Changed, which actually features Cade Armstrong, formerly from the band Of Glaciers, I believe. I tried Googling this guy, I tried finding information on this guy. It kept being roundabouts. I'm pretty sure he's a former vocalist of Glaciers. I could be wrong here. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is the most anthemic track on this, and you can use the word, it's kind of a dirty word, but the most accessible song on the album. And some people consider that a dirty word, a bad descriptor, because it's like, oh, if it's accessible, that means it's bad. Couldn't be farther from the truth there. This is a wonderful track. It does not sacrifice its integrity as part of one of the heaviest albums of 2021. The only thing that it does is offer a different aspect of this heaviness. You can actually see the sort of like physical, sorry, I'm getting kind of sweaty in here, it's really hot in my room, ignore my hair. You can see the sort of kind of thing I'm trying to convey here with the fact that the chorus flips delivery when Kate Armstrong comes in at the end there. And again, I said earlier I wasn't going to talk much about the features, but I talked a little bit about this. That's all I'm going to say about it, because you need to listen to this yourself. Without saying what I already have multiple times, because I very much have a problem with doing that in my reviews, Numb the Ache by Victims is an album that can be described by one word and its many synonyms. It is enraged. Numb the Ache is enraged, irate, pissed off, inflamed, provoked, unstoppable in the way that it presents itself. Not only does Victims forge their own corner inside metalcore's current roster of absolutely tremendous artists, but the album serves as another addition to an already cohesive and brilliant discography that the band has created so far. And when I say this band has a cohesive discography, I truly mean it. You can take one song each from pretty much all of their projects, all of their albums. You can create a playlist and it sounds like it belongs together on the same CD here. Just for example, you can take The Nine, Weak-Willed, Demon Limbs, Stasis, and Hostage, a cohesive set of songs, all from different albums. Put them together and they sound like they came from the same project. Victims is that good of a band that they can create this sort of continuous sameness without sacrificing its quality. Not only do you have that element, but you also have, just like on Numb the Ache, there are features all over Victims' discography. You have Frankie Palmieri of Amura featuring on a song. You have Hunter Young. You have so many people coming into this already extremely talented group of individuals, which makes Victims... Honestly, I know I toss this kind of phrase around often, I know I toss this phrase around a lot. Victims is the future of the scene. I truly mean that. Numb the Ache is an exceptional piece of music, a must-listen for 2021. Even if you don't like metalcore, this is an album I want you to check out. It's a little on the harder side. It's not quite as accessible as I Prevail or A Day to Remember, but it's an album that I feel like everyone can appreciate, if not for the instrumentation, for the lyricism, if not for either of those things, just for the pure emotion, honesty, and passion for music that the band members put together. With all that said, I'm giving Numb the Ache by Victims an 8.5 out of 10. Once again, I highly encourage you to check out this band. I encourage you to check out the album. They just recently announced a tour, which I'm going to have linked down in the description below. If the tour is already passed and it's a different page or a dead link, I apologize. I'm going to try and keep that updated, but I have a bad memory. So, with all that said, with the review done, with the recommendation given, I want you guys to all have a good day. Comment down in the description if you want to discuss things further with me. If anybody wants to correct me on something I got wrong, because I do have that often in my reviews as of late where I get something wrong and somebody wants to correct me, please, by all means, do. I appreciate the corrections. I want to make sure the right story is being told. If you want to discuss the album, if you want to discuss what you had for breakfast today, comment down below. We'll talk. And yeah, that's the end of the video. Stay hydrated. I'll see you later.